Over the past few months, I went on a buying spree and bought a bunch of watches from these Chinese manufacturers. Today, we're going to take a look at 15 of them, and the biggest sale of the year, 11/11, is coming up on AliExpress. So we're going to take a look and I will share my short, brief thoughts on each of these that I've owned for past couple of months and wear them, which ones I like more or not. So this list is pretty big. Let's get right to it. Before we begin, most of these watches I do have an individual reviews on them. So if you would like to know more about any of these watches, you can check out my channel and see more details about that specific watch. Okay, let's start with this Explorer 1 alternatives. Rolex Explorer 1 has to be one of the most popular watches, and I have a couple of them because it is one of my grail watches and it is one of the most popular watches. A lot of people really like this watch for a good reason. It's a tool watch and you can do pretty much anything with it, wear anywhere, dress up, dress down. It's one of those watches if you would like to have just one watch, and if you can save up and have enough money to go for a Rolex Explorer 1, either in 36 or 40, 41, I don't know, they have for different wrists, they have different sizes, so whichever suits your. But if you don't have that $5,000 and you want that style of watch, you have some options here. The first one is here from St. Martin. This one is actually kind of one of their like older models, and this one is printed numerals. This watch was the one that kind of kick-started everything for me, because before that I was only into Seiko and Citizen and all of them. But when I first got my hands on this one and I got to experience the quality and the build and how nice it fit on my wrist and everything, I was just very impressed. And then I went on a buying spree and bought a bunch of them because I was like, hey, there are a bunch of watches that I really want to try, but they're really expensive and my wallet doesn't allow it at the moment. But let me see which one of these designs I like, and when in the future I make my mind to go for that original Tudor or Rolex, then I have a pretty good idea on which watches I want. So this St. Martin 36 millimeters Rolex Explorer 1 design, it has that matte black dial, and that is like a staple for this Rolex Explorer watch. It has a pretty good bracelet. This one, the one that I have, it does not have that on-the-fly adjustment, but it has that micro adjust to get a better fit. The bracelet on this is pretty nice. I mean, it is like one of their older models, so it has that sharp edges on the bracelet and stuff, but I think their newer models that they have improved their bracelets and the finishing on the steel a lot better now. So I actually really like this one. I don't get to wear as much anymore because I have like a bunch of more. This is one of the watches, like if you just want to have like one watch to do everything with, this fits the bill perfectly. It's a pretty good looking watch. It's pretty comfortable. It can do everything. It's a tool watch. The only thing is it does not have a date, but that's a Rolex Explorer 1 design. It doesn't have a date. It has 100 meters of water resistance. It has a lume. For each watch that I talk about, I'll leave the prices on the screen at the time of the recording of this video. And then moving on, keeping the same theme, we have a Rolex Explorer alternative or a homage or whatever from Octopus. So this one actually has applied numerals and markers and all that stuff, and also the dial on this is enamel, so it is a little bit more lustrous and shiny than the one I have on St. Martin. Yeah, so that's one of the difference. And then this one is actually closest to the latest Explorer 36. It looks dang close and very similar to that new Rolex 36 Explorer. It also has that male end links, which actually Rolex Explorer comes with the male end links. Before, I used to not really like male end links because I used to be like, oh, it just adds to the lug to lug of the watch. But if you get the right size for the wrist, male end links wraps around the wrist much nicer and it looks a lot better in my finding. But between these two, the St. Martin and Octopus, I think this one has a PT 5000, the Chinese movement, and the St. Martin one has a Seiko movement. One thing to point out, the bracelet on this Octopus is actually better than the St. Martin. It's very comfortable. I like wearing it. The clasp is very nice. It has that trifold clasp. Again, it does not come with a on-the-fly adjustment on this one as well. And the micro adjust is inside the clasp, which is very annoying to adjust. So that part I don't like. And it has a diver extension. For some, I don't know when will you use it, but sometimes, you know, it does help when you want that. But other than that, the quality, polishing, finishing, and everything else on this watch is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid alternative to that Explorer 1. For the past few weeks, I was just wearing this one, and then recently I changed it to this. Okay, so the third Rolex Explorer 1 homage or a copy is actually from Baltany. This one is quite different because it has that vintage faux patina style with a very inky black dial. I have a full review on this. This is a beautiful ass watch, dude. It looks super nice. It has male end links, but it fits and looks on the wrist really nice. The bracelet on this one is very nice too. It also does not come with any on-the-fly adjustment. It has 3 micro adjust plays, and it also has a screw-in pin to secure the links, solid links and solid end links. It has a PT 5000 movement. I think my favorite thing about this watch is the finishing on the hands is so nice, and it works. It plays with the light really nicely. It is one of my favorite watches from this recent buying spree that I've had. So this is a solid contender for your 1111 cell card. This one is at 36 millimeters. This works very well on my wrist, but for those of you who want that 40 millimeter, I do think they released the 40 millimeter version recently, but I'm not sure. I will leave the links below for all of these watches. The next one is this Addiesdive. This is one of my recent acquisitions, and boy, this watch is beautiful. That space gray dial with that super nice finished hands and markers, and it fits and looks on the wrist amazing for $50, dude. This is an incredible deal because with watches, $50 usually in a watch world don't get you much, but this is one of the really great options on affordable side. This is one of those watches, honestly, if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you just want to have one watch that works for everything, this is a top-notch watch. This kind of looks between Rolex Oyster Perpetual and then the new Longines Conquest. It's a beautiful watch. It's a quartz movement, but it has that high beat rate, so you get that smooth sweep of an automatic movement. And then the good thing about quartz movement is like you don't have to wind. You just, if you have a couple of watches, you can leave this in your closet or watch box for a while and then wear it again in a month or so and it will be there. I know many people are not a big fan of this weird Addiesdive logo, which they have it on the clasp and on the case back, but they are hidden. They don't really show. The dial is beautiful. The dial looks awesome. 36 millimeter, but fits many wrists. The leg to leg is 45 millimeters, and these dress watches tend to wear larger than their size. So this is a solid option. This is actually my top pick from this list. Everything else is, there is no order, whatever comes in. But if I have to pick one watch that fits the best in terms of the price and the quality and the watch you get, this has to be the number one for me. All right, staying with the theme of Rolex alternatives, we have this Rolex DateJust with the Cyclop and green dial with the fluted bezel Jubilee bracelet from Octopus Kraken. This is a beautiful watch. This one is for your, if you want to dress up a little bit and you want a little bit of flashy, shiny setup going on. This is definitely one of the best ones for you to consider during this 11/11 sale. The price on this is around $200, I think, if you get sale with the sale and everything, or you might even get it lower than that. The bracelet on this thing is just butter smooth. It sits on the wrist and feels on the wrist amazing. The bracelet on this thing is great. The bad thing about this is the Octopus watches, when you are winding the watch or setting the time, the action of the movement or the crown action, it's not as smooth. It feels, you know, less quality, I would say, compared to St. Martin and other watches. But the dial here is also enamel. The finishing on the hands and markers are done very nicely. The markers are applied. The clasp is very comfortable. There is no sharp edges, so it feels very comfortable on the wrist. This is definitely one of my favorites. It is flashy, but in an understated way. You can wear it for attention, at the same time does not scream for attention. Rolex DateJust, one of the most popular watches of all time. This is one of the best alternative options to experience that design and see in the future if you wanted to go for the real thing. Staying with Rolex DateJust alternatives, we have this engine turned bezel in a blue enamel dial, again from Octopus Kraken. So it does have a cyclop magnifier and a oyster style bracelet with a beautiful case finishing, which are polished on the sides and on the surfaces are brushed. And this also has a male end link. This one on my wrist fits like it's an integrated bracelet. It fits and looks so nice on my wrist. It's actually one of my most complimented watches. Every time I wear this watch at work or outside, or anyone I interact with, they do compliment on this watch. Air King, there are some models of Air King that has that engine turned bezel, but I think this one is a specific DateJust, copying a DateJust model from 70s. I don't know the exact reference, but it's actually a DateJust copy. It also runs on PT 5000 movements. Everything I said about the previous Octopus applies here. The crown action and the winding action is not that great, but the finishing on the steel and the case and everything else is great. This is also one of those go anywhere, do anything watches. This blue enamel one is actually special for me because I started my YouTube channel with this watch. This was the first watch I made a review on, and everybody seemed to really like it because the watch was so good. I was not planning to actually do any YouTube videos or anything, but this watch was so nice, and there was not any videos on YouTube about Octopus because apparently a lot of people have problem with the name, like Octopus Kraken. They don't like it. I don't care about it. If it's not Rolex and Omega, I don't really care about the names as much because, you know, the name is the brand and heritage and all that stuff. And I feel like that only goes to some big brands like Rolex, Omega, Louis Vuitton, blah, 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 all that stuff. But nevertheless, a great watch for you to consider. If you're on the fence about the name, I would suggest just go for it. Nobody really cares. And you get to experience one of the watches that don't really actually make anymore. And this is a great alternative option for you to consider. The next one is also a copy or an alternative of Rolex. Surprise, surprise. Rolex actually do make some of the great watches. I mean, if I could, I would be buying every freaking Rolex out there, except some like rainbow, diamond, and all iced out ones, but I don't know. I think I will get them too. Anyway, this one is from Sugess, 36mm DayDate with the 4 diamonds, an automatic high beat movement of seagull with the president bracelet and president clasp. This watch looks amazing. The gradient blue dial on this thing is beautiful. The date change on this is very nice. It changes exactly at 12 o'clock from Monday to Tuesday. The finishing on the fluted bezel, hands, case, and everything is quite nice here. The only problem I have, the bracelet here is not as smooth and comfortable as those Octopus watches, but the crown action and movement and everything else here is better than Octopus. So that's the thing with these watches, right? Some of them, they get one thing right and the other ones, they get something else right. But these are affordable watches. I don't think we can expect a lot from them. And at the same time, these are new manufacturers, so they're learning and experimenting and putting things as out. And then the good thing is they do listen to the community a lot on Reddit, and then they make those improvements based on those feedbacks. So if you are a fan of Rolex DayDate, which goes for a ridiculous amount of money, this is a great alternative to get that style of watch. The middle links on this bracelet is polished, and the outer links are brushed, and it plays with light so nice. It is a very flashy, shiny watch, honestly. Those 4 diamonds on the markers, they're not like super visible. They kind of look like a shiny stainless steel and a silver with the light. Unless like you're really looking, paying attention, you can see. Other than that, like it's the same. It's a great watch. It's a beautiful looking watch. Same thing applies here. It is flashy, but in an understated way. Looks great if you want to dress up, date night, outside, hanging out with the boys. This next one is from WatchDives, Root Bear. This one is copied or an alternative to Rolex GMT Master Root Bear. This is also a watch that you have to be kinda in the mood to have that flashy with that rose gold center links and rose gold bezel and a very shiny dial. It's a great looking watch, and I know a lot of people are huge fans of Rolex GMT Master, and this watch is definitely for like I think $100. That's how much you can get this one for. It's a great looking watch. Again, if you want that flashy pop style, you're feeling good and you're planning a night out or a date, this can be a really good option to elevate your outfit. It has that flashy look to go out. I don't wear it as much, but I have kept it. I don't know, because I just like looking at it sometimes. I have a full review on it, so if you want to check out more about this, check out my video. For the next one, let's go to Tudor now with this Tudor Ranger 36, also from St. Martin. This also has just printed markers. I know even Tudor Ranger don't get as much hype as like Rolex Explorer, DateJust, Oyster Perpetuals and stuff, but this is such a good looking watch, such a good looking tool watch actually, you know, like Hamilton Khaki, right? That one gets so much hype on YouTube and everybody just talking about it. This one, in my opinion, looks better, feels better, and is just all around a better tool watch. And even just the Tudor Ranger itself, I don't think they have a 36mm Tudor Ranger. I think it's only 40 or 38, I'm not sure. But I think Tudor Ranger is one of their more on the lower end of watches, $3,000, $2,500. On Reddit, sometimes you can even see them for $1,800, $1,700. You can do anything with this. You're a mechanic, you're an engineer, you're a doctor. This one just flies under the radar, go anywhere, do anything type of watch. I mean, it has very similar vibe to Rolex Explorer, but it has its own style and thing going on. This is a great looking watch. I used to wear this a lot, and now since, I mean, sometimes I wish I didn't get into watches like that and I had only few watches that I could wear and enjoy. But if I were to do it, this is definitely one of the watches will be on that list. I believe WatchDives also have this design, so I think if you want to go on a little bit affordable side with the quartz movement, I think WatchDives have it. That's a good option too if you don't want to pay extra for that automatic movement and St. Martin. But remember, when you're paying a little bit extra for St. Martin, it does come with better finishing and overall quality. For next one, let's go with this St. Martin GMT Tudor Pelagos design. Tudor Pelagos has to be one of the most favorite watches, I think, in the community. A lot of people really like. So this one, St. Martin, is also titanium watch. I have this one on the blue, but it also comes in the black. Some people complain about the crystal on this watch, this dome sapphire crystal. It has that camera lens effect where everything reflects on it and makes it look like that fisheye. To me, I actually really like that look. The crystal on this thing is clean. They have done a good job on air coating. The blue dial on this watch looks great. I like that matte blue dial. The bezel also, the markers are engraved on it. It has that matte blue finish. The only thing is the bezel actions feels and sound a little bit weird. Not a deal breaker for me, but some people don't like it. Other than that, it's a true tool watch with the 300 meters of water resistance. It's all brushed surfaces, so it looks rugged. It is a tool watch, but you can dress it up with the suit or any other dressed up situation. It's a titanium watch, super comfortable, comes with on-the-fly adjustment. It is a bit on the pricier side when it comes to these Chinese manufacturers, but you get what you pay for. It's a great watch. Definitely worth the consideration when you are looking for the sale during this 11/11. The next one is also a Tudor Pelagos copy from Octopus this time. This one is a dive watch, true like one-to-one type of copy of Tudor Pelagos, all brushed everywhere, super tool watch. This one do not have on-the-fly adjustment, just micro adjustment, 4 points of it, so you can get a pretty good fit. And this is also a titanium. The bracelet on this thing is amazing. It is one of the best bracelets I have experienced from these Chinese watches. The black sunray dial on this is great. The bezel is actually type of a little bit like a grayish, I mean it looks black, but it has that grayish tone on it. The bezel action on the titanium is pretty nice, but this is a diver bezel versus the previous one we looked, that was more of a GMT bezel, so it's not fully comparable, but it's a great alternative to Tudor Pelagos. Fits so nicely on wrist, even if you have a smaller wrist like 6.5 like mine. But even if you have bigger wrists, this one is a great. The pins are screw-in pins to secure the links here. Another GMT watch, this one from Sugess, and this is a copy of Tudor BlackBay Pro, I believe. I am super surprised how they can do and offer this watch for this price, because I got this one for $130. And this one comes with on-the-fly adjustment. The bracelet on this thing is great. I have it both in the white and this deep blue. My favorite is this blue dial. I don't wear it as much as I want to. It is just heavy on the top. I think it's NH34 movement, so it's a little bit thick on the top and it's heavy on the top, so you can adjust the bracelet on the fly. It's a great feature. This one also has a screw-in pins for the links. The bracelet is all brushed. The sides are polished, but super tool looking watch. For the last two, we have two chronographs. The first one is from Baltany. This one is a quartz movement, and this is like this vintage pilot chronograph. This is a very simple, no bullshit, great looking watch. This one is like if you want a very subtle, understated chronograph that looks great, this is it. This one goes for like $120, $130. It's all polished, so it gives you a little bit of that flashy look, but with that black leather strap, this goes under the radar. Baltany does a great job finishing their watches. The hands on this watch is also plays with the light beautifully. Definitely on the more affordable side, a quartz chronograph, definitely worth your consideration. The last one is a chronograph from Sugess, but this is an automatic chronograph, a copy and alternative of Rolex Daytona. Rolex Daytona, what a watch. That watch goes for a crazy amount of money. One of the probably most hyped watches, for a good reason. This watch looks amazing. It has mail-end links with a 40mm case, I think 41mm, something around that, but it fits on any wrist perfectly. And this one from Sugess is actually an automatic chronograph. This one is on the expensive side of watches when it comes to AliExpress watches, but I don't think I know any offering of automatic chronograph that is less than $1,000 from Swiss and Japanese brands. This one is a seagull movement, I believe. It has a 60-second subdial and a 30-minute chronograph dial. The pushers are all screwed down here. If you are a fan of Rolex Daytona look, I have this on this Panda. This one is a little bit pricey, but definitely worth whatever they're charging because this watch is finished amazingly. It looks great. I don't know. This is an automatic chronograph for less than 500 bucks. I think the new one goes for 400 during the sale, or you might be able to find close to 300 or whatever. Anyway guys, this is the list of watches I purchased. I purchased a lot more than these, but these are some of my favorite watches from everything I got from AliExpress. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, which one of these are your favorites and which one of these are actually in your cart for 11/11, because I know many of you are ready, just waiting for that sale. I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, take care.